Not a cloud in the sky as we get ready for 200 laps from the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway. We'll take a look at the particulars of this track and our Camping World track description.
Dare say one of the most unique racetracks in the country.
Yeah, how many racetracks do you call a paperclip, which is exactly what Rick just called it? Look at these tight turns. They're banked 12 degrees, Phil, but the radius is so sharp, it makes it feel like it's flat.
And there will be a lot of beating and banging, and people will be fighting for space on this racetrack.
We zoom up to 140 miles an hour or so and all the way down to 70 or 80. Man, this has got a great recipe for running into each other.
Kroger 200 race analysis. The expected pit stops, 2. That's only if what?
I'll tell you, the stars, like I spoke of, said 2 pit stops for 4 tires, but it's not guaranteed. Sometimes the stars don't tell you the whole story so they can get a leg up on the competition.
A lot of storylines we're going to be following. Let's start off with Bob Dillner on pit road.
Everybody that's grown up around Darrell Wallace Jr. knows that he's a trickster, and we are about a week away from Halloween. Well, he loves Martinsville Speedway. He's finished 3rd here in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race here, and then in the springtime he finished in the top 5. Well, he's still looking for his first ever Camping World Truck Series victory, and he's hoping to turn the trick here today. Feels pretty confident to get that treat of the Martinsville grandfather clock in victory lane. Herman?
Well, Bob, this fall race is 200 laps. You generally plan your strategy to pit 1 time, but as Michael Walter just said, it may take 2 pit stops to go to victory lane. 2 trips down pit road leaves a lot of opportunity to pick up spots or lose spots. Not only the crew, but the driver. Very important that the driver navigates these small pit boxes and gets in and out with no trouble. Ray?
Well, Hermie, let's add to that just a little bit. I'm not sure if they'll pit once or twice, but what I do wonder is how late can you wait? I thought it would be good to look at our last 5 fall races that we've had here at Martinsville. And when you look back at 2008 and 2009, the tires were hard as a rock. You wanted to get in your fuel window, and once you did your 1 pit stop, you were in, and then you were going to stay out the rest of the day. That's not the story today. Tires will be a big factor, and today we may see somebody come in after lap 150 and still have a shot to win.
Thank you, Ray. Once again, the field 2 by 2. They're following the pace truck. Here at Martinsville, we're going to ride along with a few different drivers.
This is always fun. These shots are great, Phil.
Yeah, we're going to ride along with Kevin Harvick. He's in the Anderson's Maple Syrup, 3rd truck out of NTS Motorsports. Kevin in the spring here, he practiced 26th fastest, qualified 16th, and led the race twice. So just because he started 21st, don't think he couldn't be a contender.
Well, let's hop on board with Brendan Gaughan in the South Point Hotel and Casino Chevy. He's starting 15th, but Phil, this team tested here. Really good truck in the long run. Watch for Brendan to be a contender today.
Let's ride along with our point leader right here. He has a race and a half cushion right now, point-wise, over his closest pursuer. He needs to get out of here. We talk about this being the last hurdle for him to win this championship, and he will start from the 13th spot in his Menards Toyota.
Let's tiptoe up inside the top 10. In the 9th position sits Jeb Burton. He'll take his Arrowhead Kangaroo Express Chevy to the green flag from 9th. He finished 3rd here in the spring. He knows what he's doing on the short tracks.
Denny Hamlin will try to make it 3 in a row in the fall here at Martinsville in Kyle Busch's truck. He is sponsored by Jordan brand and is driving a Toyota, and he starts from the pole.
And he's very confident.
Air Jordan.
How can you not be confident?
How can you not be confident if you got Air Jordan on your hood?
He's looking over his dashboard and he sees Michael flying through the air. That's got to make you feel good about yourself, especially when there isn't anybody out your windshield.
Amazingly enough, this has been one of those tracks where guys just find victory lane for the first time. 7 times it's happened here at Martinsville. Now we know that Denny Hamlin has won before here. So has Johnny Sauter. But a lot of guys that haven't got their first win just right behind him.
And I love Darrell Wallace Jr. I think this kid's going to be a winner, and it could be today.
Coming out of turn number 4, Denny Hamlin leads him to the green flag for the first time. It's in the air. We're underway at Martinsville. Good start for Johnny Sauter, trying to take the lead away through turn number 2. He does. He takes it away from Denny Hamlin.
Boy, he found some grip on the outside.
Watch Ron Hornaday dive down into turn 3. He saw what Johnny Sauter did. He's going to try to do the same to Hamlin. Not going to work for Ron, though.
What a bold move by Johnny Sauter. Takes the first lap. Denny Hamlin slides back into 2nd now. Back in 3rd, Darrell Wallace Jr., who started this race in 3rd, right behind Denny.
It's amazing watching these guys fight for the bottom of the racetrack. We saw Johnny Sauter get the lead from the outside. Everybody else was trying to fight for the inside.
What about Johnny Sauter? We left here in the spring. He was leading the race. He picked right up where he left off.
Looks like Ty Dillon had a little issue there as the 31 of James Busher. By caution comes out on lap 3.
39 truck of Sieg into the inside wall going into turn. Look at the damage, Phil.
Did Kevin Harvick get a piece of that in the 14 truck?
Was in the vicinity. Also the 33 of Brandon Jones, also close to it. We'll catch you up on everything that happened when we come back. Field all in line 2 by 2 once again. Johnny Sauter chooses the inside line this time as our race leader. That puts Denny Hamlin to the outside. Coming through turn number 4. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway.
Johnny wasn't going to mess around and let Denny jump around the outside like Johnny did to Denny earlier, and it's a great start for Sauter. What a strong truck he has.
How about Darrell Wallace Jr. closes the door on the possibility of Denny Hamlin getting down in front of him, so Darrell Wallace Jr. moves up to second.
No problems for Daniel Hemrick in the 6 truck. See a little bit of damage to the left front fender.
I don't think that could be much.
That's not enough to send him to pit road, but he's coming that way anyway.
He wasn't even running, I don't think, Phil. He was running 17th when his problems started. Going really slow on the entry to pit road.
Mechanical issues potentially there as Johnny Sauter continues to lead here at Martinsville. Darrell Wallace Jr. all over his back bumper. One thing we've noticed about Darrell Wallace Jr. has so much talent, so much speed, sometimes gets a little bit excited early on in these races and runs a little bit harder than he should.
Yeah, but he's posted a bunch of solid finishes here in the last half a dozen races or so. So he's getting it figured out for sure.
Yeah, you look down in that garage area, and we talked about guys that race these trucks week in and week out. Those two right there, Johnny Sauter and Darrell Wallace Jr. were the names you heard over and over in the pit area about guys that could win this race today. And look at Wallace go.
What a pass by Darrell Wallace Jr. Takes the lead away from that 98. Hermie.
Well, not only has he been passed for the lead, but a little bit of a radio issue for Johnny Sauter. Johnny can hear the crew, but the crew cannot hear Johnny Sauter. We'll see if that comes into play for the rest of the evening. Real quickly, too, on the number 6 of Hemrick, he is stuck in between second and third gear. They got him on pit road. Ray?
Hermie, you'll notice the yellow stripe on the bumper of that Toyota Care number 54. Darrell Wallace Jr. got an extra set of tires this weekend to practice with, so that put them in really good shape. I don't think there's any chance we'll pit 3 times, but if they decided they want to, they've got 3 really good sets of tires down here in the pits. Bob Dillner?
Ron Hornaday thinks he has a great truck to get back to victory lane here at Martinsville. He's got one grandfather clock, and he said he would love to have another. His plan is to bide his time, stay patient, stay in that top 5, and then go on the attack. Right now, Ron really not saying much on the radio other than his truck feels pretty darn good.
How about a textbook pass by Darrell Wallace Jr., able to get by Johnny Sauter.
He's got a great race truck. You see him open up about a 4-truck length lead right now over Johnny Sauter. He pulled to the inside. Johnny saw he was there, gave him plenty of room. Johnny knows that it's way too early to contest that position right now.
Darrell Wallace Jr. clicking off very impressive laps already. He's put 0.8 of a second between himself and second place Johnny Sauter. Denny Hamlin's dropped back to the 3rd spot. Hornaday in 4th. James Busher 5th. Ross Chastain has been impressive all weekend. He sits in the 6th position. Ty Dillon, Ivan Quiroga, Timothy Peters, and Chase Elliott are your top 10. Single file line now, waiting for the opportunity to get by the truck in front of you.
There's Kevin Harvick right there, that black truck number 14 following Ryan Blaney in the blue number 29. We speculated that Kevin had a little bit of damage from that incident, and we looked at it during the commercial break, and he has a little bit of damage to the left front fender, Bob, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the truck.
No, not at all. Honestly, they've struggled all weekend long. I spoke to crew chief Paul Andrews, and he said there's really not enough damage to affect it. The problem with that truck is they have not been able to get it hooked up at all. In fact, when I spoke to Kevin on the way to the starting grid today, he said, you know what? This frustration of this weekend may just make me retire from the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. That's how frustrated he is. And he said, you know, it's a different deal when you run your own truck. You're hands-on. You get to really work with that truck and get a good feel for it. But running this team here for NTS at Martinsville has been a big struggle this year.
But I'm telling you what, a guy like Kevin Harvick, who's won here before and has the ability on a short track that he has, I guarantee he's looking at this as a huge challenge to try to figure out how to use strategy, how to use his ability to work his way through this field and put that truck that he says is really challenging in a position to win the race.
And remember, we talked about how challenged it was in the spring. Bad practice, not a good qualifying effort, and led the race 2 different times.
Well, Ty Dillon taking Timothy Peters with him as they were able to get by that 31 of James Busher. So Ty Dillon and Timothy Peters moving toward the front. The 31 kind of holding on to that position.
Right now, the 77 of Vermont Kroger right behind that 31. James right now is in 8th.
Yeah, I was going to say Kroger's in 9th, and he's been solid all weekend. He's had a truck that we've seen surface in the top 10 a lot in practice and solid in the top 10 now, all over the back of Busher.
Bob Dillner, the 31 of James Busher's dropped back to 8th.
He is, and he's struggling a little bit right now. 3rd in points coming into this one, but he just radioed into his team and said, I'm having trouble with the brakes. And we all know how important brakes are here at Martinsville at this paperclip shaped racetrack. So that's why he's trying to ease off a little bit, use less brakes so he doesn't really completely wear them out.
And nowadays the brakes are so good that you should be able to hammer those brakes for 200 laps around here, shouldn't you?
All day long. You would think you could just get on them as hard as you wanted to. But you know, Phil, if your truck's not handling well, you're going to use them more anyway. So if your truck's handling good, you can use the brakes all you need and never burn them up. You get one that's not acting right, you might burn them up.
Short track racing means you catch up to the slower lap traffic just a bit quicker, and that's exactly what Darrell Wallace Jr. has done already. Has caught the back of the pack, starting to put trucks a lap down. Darrell Wallace Jr. hasn't been to victory lane. A grandfather clock would look great at his place.
Quite the battle for the lead, Rick. It looks like Johnny Sauter's truck has settled in to be solid. And look at Denny Hamlin making it 3 wide at Martinsville.
3 wide, 2 for second place right now. Denny Hamlin running in 3rd, trying to take 2nd away from Johnny Sauter. He gets to the inside. They battle door to door down the backstretch.
Did there look like there was room for Denny Hamlin to get on the inside?
He had Norm Benning on the outside. He just squeezed by. Now Denny has position on the inside.
So we have 1 and 2, Darrell Wallace Jr. and Denny Hamlin, both Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks. So who better to invite into the booth than the guy who has won 34 times in the Truck Series? Please welcome Kyle Busch.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you having me. It's interesting what you all got going on up here. So fun to be here. Appreciate it. And looks good. I like what we see out there.
I bet you do. How does it feel? You get on TV and your trucks are 1-2.
I better come up here more often then.
Whoa, and wide gets that
Timmy
81 of Timmy Hill. And 3 wide as they go into turn 1.
Man, that's what happens. Anytime a truck loses its momentum, it affects all the trucks behind him. You can see Hill way up the track, but when he comes onto the front straightaway, it's going to affect the way the other trucks get off the turn.
Looks like maybe a brake issue. The way he drove down in that corner, wasn't able to keep that truck down.
And he'll make his way onto pit road. So the 81 off track and onto pit road. Still out front, Darrell Wallace Jr. The gap before Denny Hamlin was able to get by Johnny Sauter was about 0.8 of a second. Now Denny Hamlin 0.7 of a second behind Darrell Wallace Jr.
Kyle, a lot of the talk in the garage area was about pitting twice and getting 4 tires a couple of times. How did you see tire wear, and what are your guys talking about?
Yeah, it's interesting because the tires here are a little bit different acting than what they have been in the past. You obviously see a lot of rubber go down during the races, especially the Cup race, but we haven't seen that the last couple times we've been here. So tire wear definitely makes the tires go away, definitely makes you feel like you got to come to pit road and you definitely want those 4 tires, and I don't see any option other than 4. 2 doesn't seem like it's going to make much sense.
And Crafton has moved his way up into the 9th spot, looking to try to take 8th away from Armand Quiroga.
Talking to your driver, Denny Hamlin, and he said he wants to have 4 tires on late in the going so he can be aggressive and move forward. We watched him move forward here last fall, pushing his way to the front and getting the win. That's probably going to be the strategy today, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely. I can only foresee the same thing looking to happen today again. I mean, you definitely want to be able to put your tires on as late as possible, but sometimes you get them on too late, and obviously you can't get back through traffic. It's just so hard to pass, and the only way to pass is to use that chrome horn. So there's a lot of guys here that enjoy doing that, and as we see it right here,
there it was
with Harvick on Burton.
Just saw Harvick do it. We also just saw Crafton do it.
How late would be too late, you think, Kyle, to put tires on?
I think if you're coming to put tires on 40 to go, it's probably too late.
maybe 50, 60 to go.
If there's a perfect scenario, then yeah, that's probably the right thing to do. And now, if you come with 60 to go, and you can get enough cautions and you can take care of your tires enough during the green flag stretch that you do get, then you might be okay. But you know, Denny, he wants to hustle hard, and coming at 40 to go, you know, that might be a little too late.
Denny won it last year with 48 to go coming on to pit road, and now Denny Hamlin taking the lead away from Darrell Wallace Jr. So Denny Hamlin leads his first lap at Martinsville in this race.
You know, walking through the garage here and talking to all the crew chiefs and the drivers, and said, you know, who are the good trucks? He said, well, you got the 51. He's in a class by himself, and then you have Johnny Sauter and Bubba Wallace and some other guys. And as Kevin Harvick, we've lamented about his struggles here this weekend, and all he's doing is driving forward.
And that motivates Harvick. He wants you to think that he doesn't have a shot. He wants to show you he's going to come from behind. He's already driven into the top 10, and we're only 43 laps into this thing. Last fall here, he started 26th and drove up to the top 10, or excuse me, started 16th, and it took him to lap 50 to get to the top 10. He's already done it in 43 laps this year.
3 different drivers have been out front. Darrell Wallace Jr., Johnny Sauter, and now Denny Hamlin.
These guys are wanting tires right now. That's what I can tell you. They're loving it.
43 laps in, and the driver's saying they already want tires. Stay with us. More here from Martinsville. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. Denny Hamlin still in front of the field. Johnny Sauter has second. Darrell Wallace Jr. back there in third. Ty Dillon and Ron Hornaday rounding out our top 5, and you could pretty much throw a blanket over the 5 of them.
And you see Denny Hamlin's working over Miguel Pluto there, trying to put Miguel a lap down. Miguel's running in the 22nd spot. John Hunter Nemechek just made his way around Miguel, so John Hunter's making some progress early in the going.
It's amazing. These are some pretty good trucks that they're putting a lap down right now, 52 laps into this race.
All of them deciding to go the high line around Miguel Paludo, at least your top 3. Denny Hamlin, Johnny Sauter, Darrell Wallace Jr. With more on Ty Dillon, currently running in the 4th spot, Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Rick, the 3 of Ty Dillon could get up towards the front and challenge those top 3 if we stay green long enough. He dropped back to 7th on this last restart and has driven his way back up to the 4th position. He has described his truck on a scale of 1 to 10 as a 2 to 3 tight in the center. So they got a plan to make an air pressure adjustment when the 3 comes to pit road. Bob?
For Ross Chastain, this race and the 2 more that he will run this year is like an audition for next year. No set plan for him and Brad Keselowski racing just yet, but he has moved up in this race from 8 to 6 with a truck that is quote-unquote loose everywhere. He's just trying to hold on right now because he wants a ride. 3rd at Talladega, 2nd earlier this year. He's hoping for that first win here today, right?
Bob, coming into this race, Denny Hamlin had led 200 laps in truck racing here at Martinsville. The truck he's driving today is chassis 134. It won here last fall, and Denny said they really didn't have to do too much to it in practice other than adjust the throttle pad. It was a little bit out of line because Eric Jones had been driving that truck prior to him, and Eric's much smaller. Once they got the throttle right, Denny has said this thing is right on a rail.
Hey, Kyle, is that really chassis 134? Is Ray reporting correctly? It won here last fall?
I thought it was 508, but I didn't know.
How would you know?
I didn't know we built that many.
Your wallet knows it, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Denny Hamlin out in front of the field. Johnny Sauter holding down 2nd. Darrell Wallace Jr. still looking for his first win in the Truck Series, running in the 3rd spot. How about Brandon Jones in the 33 sideways as he came out of 4?
That allowed Joey Coulter, the 18 truck, to get by.
Oh!
Right now, Brandon tried to get back down to the bottom, and Scott Riggs, the 92, was there.
There wasn't room.
A little bit of damage to the left rear of that 33 of Brandon Jones now as he loses a spot to Scott Riggs.
Brandon's another one of our youngsters, a teenager. We have 4 teenagers in this field. Brandon's 16 years old.
These guys are fighting hard to stay on the lead lap. Watch this move.
He just turned left like Scott Riggs wasn't there.
He wanted the bottom.
Tried to take it.
Scott's had none of that.
So Johnny Sauter still holding out as 2nd. Darrell Wallace Jr. back in 3rd. Such an impressive talent Darrell Wallace Jr. has been since the start of the 2013 season. Kyle, do you find is it a hard thing to try to keep a talented kid like this a part of your team?
It is. I mean, you know, Darrell's done a great job this year. He's really come on well. The season started out well. He ran well here in Martinsville earlier this year. He's had some strong runs throughout the summer, and now getting into the fall part of the season, you know, it's certainly do or die almost. I mean, you got to be able to run up front and continue to do that, but also challenge for some wins. And in these last 4 races or so, you know, we're looking for Darrell to be able to do that. And, you know, we'll hope that we can put some stuff together for him and bring him back again next year.
And this is not like the Nationwide Series or the Cup Series where you go to a lot of racetracks the second time. This is only one of 2 racetracks that you run twice.
That's right, yeah. I mean, he ran Texas earlier this year where, you know, they started out a little rough and didn't quite have the race they wanted, but then they finished 5th or 6th, and they finished well. That was good. And so that's another one that they get to here in a couple of weeks. We get to go back for the second time, and we really get to see the success that he's picked up on earlier this year and the knowledge that he's gained, and to be able to put him at that racetrack again. Hopefully he runs, you know, top 5 or even better.
Very impressive, especially here at Martinsville. Has already led 31 laps, currently in the 3rd spot, battling for 2nd with Johnny Sauter, but it's been Denny Hamlin who's been able to take over that top spot. He's led 23 laps. For complete NASCAR coverage, 2nd caution of the day has come out. Ryan Blaney in that 29 got turned around coming out of turn number 4. Let's take a look.
These guys were fighting to stay on the lead lap. The leaders are fast approaching, and Joey Coulter was on the inside of Blaney and then finally got into his quarter panel and spun him around.
It just had to look like something was going to go on there because Denny was right behind them. There's the contact between Joey and Ryan. You know, Busher does a great job avoiding Ryan.
Yeah, I thought everyone was doing a great job. We went 63 laps of green flag racing. That's the longest stretch, actually ties the longest stretch ever here at Martinsville for the Truck Series.
Ever?
Ever.
That's a long time. We've raced a lot here at Martinsville.
Couldn't have made it one more lap to set a record today, could you, boys?
Couldn't quite pull it off.
Couldn't quite get it.
I guess that's why it's a record. It's hard to beat it.
I think we come now, especially if we're gonna make 2 pit stops. 70 laps, time to come.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Pit road is open.
Be interesting to see what Kevin Harvick and some guys that are good but didn't have the track position, if they do something different here to gain that track position.
I think you'll see everybody take 4 right now, and depending on how everyone gets on with their pit stops, you know, you're going to see some track position kind of change up here.
Denny Hamlin leads the lead lap trucks onto pit road first. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Ron Hornaday will bring his 9 truck into the attention of his crew. Right now, that truck, according to his crew chief, Bruce Cook, very tight on throttle, but Ron just radioed into his crew as well and said, you know what, I'm having to pump the brakes a little bit, starting to lose the brakes in that 9 truck, Hermie.
Bob, they still cannot hear Johnny Sauter on top of the pit box here in the 98 pit. They're going to take 4 tires fuel and only put 1/2 pound air in the right rear. Ray.
A little bit tight in the center for Denny Hamlin. They're going to try to give him a little bit more forward drive. Originally, they were going to put stickers on and then save some scuffs, but they switched up their tires. They'll hold a set of stickers here. They have a problem getting the jack up on the left side a little bit on this Air Jordan Toyota. It will cost him a bit, but he'll still be the first one off of pit road.
Pretty easily, too. Ty Dillon made up some ground, though, comes off 2nd.
Looked like every single lead lap truck came to pit road that time. See, Johnny Sauter lost 3 spots.
Kevin Harvick up a couple. He's in contention, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Big movers taking place on pit road. This is why we're under our 2nd caution. Ryan Blaney gets turned around. And the green flag just coming out at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin still in front of Darrell Wallace Jr., who's been able to grab the 2nd spot away from Johnny Sauter. Way up the racetrack goes the 3 of Ty Dillon.
And Timothy Peters' hood blew off.
17 of Timothy Peters, can't see right now. Hood up in front of the windshield.
See all the damage to the front of that truck. It broke the hood pins.
The hood pins are still in it. The hood pin bar is still at the top of the hood. Look,
it's attached to the top of the hood.
Follow the lines around.
It broke off. Ray Dunlap.
Yeah, Timothy said it just came up and no warning, so not quite sure what happened there. They will definitely have to come to the pits. The crew is ready for him.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do there, right? Well, they can tape it down, I suppose, but he's broken his whole front end. You can see the damage on the nose, Phil, and that's the dangers of these restarts. You get all bunched up, you get a little bit of damage on the front, and no telling what's going to go wrong.
And Timothy will find himself at least 2 or 3 laps down, and that puts him out of contention to get a lucky dog. And you don't have that many wave rounds here, so it's going to be a bad day for Timothy, unfortunately.
you know what the worst part about it is?
Taping it down.
Is now the roof's killed. You got to cut the whole roof off that body and everything. Being an owner, I know a little bit about that.
There's your car owner talking.
Oh my goodness. Bad luck for local boy Timothy Peters.
Yeah, he was running up in the top 10 in the 10th spot when that happened.
Kyle, how much adjustments do you think a guy like Denny Hamlin or Darrell Wallace Jr., what do they call for on that first pit stop? They know that Denny's a little bit better. How do they work on their trucks to make them more competitive?
Well, I think you got to work on your balance a little bit, but at the start of the race, you always kind of have to just play it by ear a little bit. You got to get going through the first 20, 30, 40 laps and figure out what your truck's doing. And then after that, you start concentrating more on what it's doing, because essentially we just came out of cup practice. These guys started the race on a relatively green racetrack. And here's the restart where the 17 gets in the back of the 88.
Look at that. Just chain reaction.
Hornaday.
Yeah, the reason was Ron Hornaday turned dead left to try to get to the bottom. Matt Crafton had to slam on the brakes, and then Timothy pays the price for that.
And again, Crafton is looking to win a championship. He doesn't want to be involved in anything. He doesn't want to scratch on his truck, and he gets run over to the left because of Hornaday in front of him. He gets run into in the back because of Timothy Peters.
Well, that's Martinsville.
That's Martinsville, yeah. That's one way to look at it.
Jeff Burton making the move around. John West Townley in that 4 takes that spot away.
I don't know if Timothy's problems are over yet or not. They're running over 120, 30 miles an hour in traffic even, and he's got a lot of air catching that hood in the front. So,
yeah, I dare say that hood will come up again before it's all said and done.
There he comes. He's coming back down.
yeah.
All over the back bumper, Darrell Wallace Jr.
Your team truck's running like that. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You don't think one will turn the other, do you?
No, I saw earlier in the race where Darrell, he was pretty excited to get out front, lead some laps, and he got up there, and then you saw about 20, 25 laps went by, and then that's when Denny started coming back up through there. That's just experience. That's just a veteran type move, being able to have Denny Hamlin behind the wheel. And when you have that opportunity, you call upon the ace and bring him in for this one.
But how difficult is it for you? You've got 34 truck wins to sit here and watch this race while these guys are out there running your trucks.
I'm good with it. I am perfectly okay with them out there running 1 and 2, hopefully finishing 1 and 2.
That probably doesn't look as bad then.
I got no problem with that. I don't matter if Darrell wins or if Denny wins. To me, it's Kyle Busch Motorsports truck in victory lane. But obviously, we know how good Denny Hamlin is here, and he's proven that over the years, whether it's a Cup Series cars here or the trucks here. So, like I said, I had to ask Denny a couple more times than I probably had in years past, because he was pretty busy this week. I think Michael knows a little bit about that. But, if he eventually didn't want to do it, then I was going to be out there. So I'm glad he finally said yes.
Ross Chastain's looking pretty good right now. He's closed up on the back bumper of the 98 of Johnny Sauter.
And right now, that 9 of Ron Hornaday running in the 6th spot, Bob Billner.
Ron Hornaday having a good run, but we talked about that tire wear, and I just want to show you a couple things. These are the left side tires that came off of Ron Hornaday's truck here. This left rear tire completely worn out, but the left front tire is what we really want to show you here, because surprisingly, Bruce Cook, the crew chief, told me he was shocked. Look at the cords on this left front tire. He was having trouble up off the corner, not getting the drive, and that's because these left side tires were completely wore out. Hermie?
Well, Bob, Ty Dillon not happy inside of that number 3 truck. He started on the outside of the front row on this most recent restart after a very fast pit stop, but he got knocked out of the groove in turns 1 and 2. Compound that with just a tight truck. It will not rotate through the center of the corner, and the 3 truck finds themselves back in 8th.
And Miguel Paludo in the 32 goes around, bringing out our 3rd caution of the day. He gets it pointed the right direction, but the field will slow down once again, and we'll go 2 by 2 for another restart at Martinsville. Just a couple days away from Halloween. When you come to Martinsville, you always think about hot dogs. How about corn dogs? They're just 50 cents all day on Halloween at Sonic, and they are scary good. You eat a few corn dogs. I love corn dogs, one of my favorite foods. Joey
Logano?
Joey walking
that's
through
his name.
the pit here.
That's okay, Rick.
Wait a second. We were talking Joey Coulter there. Hold on a second. Joey Logano walking through the pit area.
Contact there from the 27 of Jeff Agnew turns Miguel Paludo around.
Miguel's not having a good day. He's been punted around quite a lot, and that time
It was upside down last week,
he's got to figure this is
It's a better day than last week.
Better than upside down. Kyle Busch joining us up in the booth. Michael Walter, Phil Parsons, Rick Allen with you, as well as Bob Dillner, Hermie Sadler, Ray Dunlap down on pit road.
How about Denny taking the outside on this restart, Kyle?
We might have a little KBM teamwork going on right now. If it is, it's going to be pretty.
Coming back.
See,
Turn one. Denny Hamlin has the lead now.
There you go. Darrell gave up a little bit just to let Denny down. So it's sort of the deal that you make as teammates instead of getting the 54 stuck up on the outside and not heading to the back. So
the 51 out front.
I love when a plan comes together. Look at that.
That was pretty, your two trucks working together there. We'll see that a lot at Martinsville.
How about Ross Chastain on the inside, battling for the third spot on Johnny Sauter, and he's got it.
Takes third away. Here comes Hornaday. Look at the inside of that 98 as well. Hornaday taking the spot away from Johnny Sauter. Oh, and some contact. The left front. And up into the wall goes the 9 of Hornaday. Johnny Sauter was chasing him up the wall, up toward the wall.
Yeah, that was retaliation. I think Johnny didn't like the way Hornaday went by him and decided he'd let him know about it.
It was a situation where Ron Hornaday was not clear, and he tried to move up to the outside to get an angle down in the corner, and Johnny's nose was still there.
And it did a lot of damage to the left front of Johnny's truck, Phil.
Brandon Jones in the 33 moving around that 9 on the inside. Here comes John West Townley in the 7. Hornaday hung on the outside, and there's debris on the racetrack, so the caution will come out again as we've reached the halfway point of this one.
Whew. Halfway already? Man, this is fun.
It goes quick. 4th caution of the day.
See the damage to the rear of that Smoky Mountain truck, and there's some of the rear bumper bars, I would assume, off that 9 of Ron Hornaday. Look at all the rubber that's collected up on the outside of the racetrack.
Watch this action here.
Ron's just going to turn up to the outside wall, thinks he's clear of Johnny, and he certainly wasn't.
Hacked Johnny off, too. Look at that.
Johnny said, no, I don't appreciate that. Up the track with the 9. 98 actually followed him up the track a bit as well.
Well, he had to go find him up there.
Yeah. Killed it. Oh, they're both done.
Watch hard checking all this action out. There's 2 more spots.
Yeah, those were free.
Yeah.
He laid back going, I know something's going to happen here.
He says, I know you.
I know what you're going to do.
21st to 4th for Kevin Harvick, and we're just past halfway. So I think he's going to be a contender. I don't think he's going to retire.
Ron Hornaday in the spring got bumped out of the way by Jeff Burton. Wasn't happy at all about it. At the end of the race, Jeff Burton had a little message from Kevin Harvick, and then Burton tried to talk to Hornaday. Hornaday didn't want anything to do with him after the race. They subsequently talked later, but issues for the 9, Bob.
Well, let's just say Ron Hornaday not all too happy with Johnny Sauter right now. They got the baseball bat out. They want to make sure all that damage is pulled away from the tires. They pulled some tape off the grill as well. Hermie?
Johnny Sauter to pit road. They're not going to put tires on this early, but a lot of damage to the left front. The hood was buckled up probably a little bit into Johnny's vision, but no tire rub. That's the good news, but a lot of damage to the left front on the 98. Ray?
Hermie, I told you earlier that Bubba Wallace and his team had 3 really good sets of tires in the pits. They had considered using all 3 of those, but the way the cautions have fallen now, it's really changing that plan. They're going to go with track position. They want to stay out there right now. They'll use 1 more set of tires, and chances are after that, they'll stay on the racetrack.
And the question will be, how late will they wait before they put that last set of tires on?
Fox Sports Live, nightly on Fox Sports 1.
Not good.
Great restart by the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. Denny Hamlin struggling through 3 and 4. He drops back numerous spots as they come onto the front stretch.
That one didn't work quite as well as the previous restart, did it, Kyle?
No, I couldn't really tell what went on. I guess I started paying attention too late, but no, definitely did not work the same.
Ross Chastain up into the 2nd spot. Kevin Harvick all the way up to 3rd. Jeff Burton runs in 4th.
What we talk about Harvick and Hamlin, their attitudes completely opposite before the race started, but yet they've come together near the front of the pack. Denny strong early, now fading back. He's stuck on the outside, and Harvick charges up into the 3rd spot.
And the train's just going by on the inside. Then he may have a spot now to get down to the bottom in front of Buscher. He's going to take it.
Does get in line now. Darrell Wallace Jr. in front of the field. Ross Chastain running 2nd. 2 drivers that have not been to victory lane in the Camping World Truck Series.
And you guys just watch Denny Hamlin work his way back through these guys. Tough restart. Looks like he just maybe got clipped a little bit in the left rear on that start, and it lost his momentum. He'll get it going again. Another note, Ryan Blaney, who spun earlier, he got his lap back. He's back on the lead lap. We'll see if he can rebound. His teammate, Ross Chastain, really strong run up in the 2nd spot.
19 trucks on the lead lap now. Denny Hamlin, after this restart, he's on the outside. Look at him fall back.
Get Kevin Harvick right on his rear tailgate. I don't know if there might have been a little contact that got Denny just a little bit out of shape. Then that pushes him up. Ross Chastain makes it 3 wide.
That's an aggressive move by Chastain. He made it work.
Ray Dunlap, Denny Hamlin, not where we've normally seen him at Martinsville.
He came on the radio, Rick, and said, we had a deal, and he did not hold up his part of the bargain, and I have got a mental note about that for when I get back to the front.
Mental note.
Yeah, I don't know that Denny's knows exactly what went on there. I think the 14 got in the back of him and got him to build a little bit of a push just at like the 2/3 mark on the exit of the corner. And Denny didn't have the front steer that he wanted to get down to the bottom. And so Harvick actually, I think, kind of ruined the deal.
Now hold on here a second,
more than
Kyle.
the 54.
And Darrell had to go.
Darrell had to go. Yeah, I mean.
Kyle, hold on. Are you saying that things happen on the track that maybe aren't how they end up looking from up above here?
Exactly. Yes. I think Harvick knew exactly the plan and what was going to happen there, and he drove through the back bumper of the 51 and said, no.
Harvick said,
not me.
I don't like your plan, Kyle.
Yeah.
New plan.
That's right.
Bob Dillner.
Honestly, I think there were a lot of plans to break up that KBM team there, not just from Kevin Harvick, but even from Ross Chastain in that 19 truck. He and his crew chief, Chad Kendrick, were saying, we need to break those guys up because how they're operating on the front row in those restarts, they're really stalling down a particular line to help each other get into gear and get in that 1 and 2 spot. So that was the plan from a couple different trucks, Harvick as well as Ross Chastain, to try to separate that 54 and the 51.
You know, we saw that last year with Kevin Harvick and Ty Dillon doing the same exact thing. So
and Denny and I, we've been popular of doing that on Sundays too, and it works on Sundays. And Kenseth and I, we actually did it in the spring as well too. I think Denny just kind of rooted the 77 there a little bit. So
trying to get back up to the front. Remember, this is only a 200-lap race. We only have 85 laps to go.
Well, I venture to guess that you'll hear more from Denny Hamlin before it's over. Do we have another pit stop? Are these guys going to try to make it this far on tires? We don't think so. So there's a lot of action left to see who wins this baby.
And things normally heat up as you get closer to that checkered flag. Denny's move on the 77 moments ago.
I don't know if there might have been a little contact, but not.
Just
a little bit. But
just a touch.
It's time to go. It's time to go.
And that's as good as you can do it, isn't it?
Oh, that was a feather.
Just a tap. He just tapped him out of the way.
See, Ty Dillon, the 3 truck, gets inside the 4 of Jeb Burton to take over that spot. That moves him up to the 5th spot.
Moving the right direction is the 3.
Look at this battle for the lead.
Chastain all over the back bumper. That 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr.
What a great race between these 2 young drivers.
Put a little distance between themselves and Harvick running in the 3rd spot.
Those guys don't care. There's a couple of Cup superstars in this event. They want to settle it amongst themselves.
Again, neither driver has been to victory lane in the Camping World Truck Series. How special would it be to the first race you win a grandfather clock from Martinsville?
And just know that you had Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, 2 of the best in a truck at Martinsville, in your rearview mirror when you took that grandfather clock home.
They're 81 laps away. Darrell Wallace Jr. has been very, very good. 64 laps he's been out in front of this field.
Ross Chastain now is going to Norm Benning moves way over to the inside.
Easy, Ross.
A very close opportunity there. The door shut on the 19 of Ross Chastain, though.
Well, Ross did a great job recovering from that.
Yeah, and it looked like Wallace was a little bit loose off turn 2 and gave Ross a big run, and he's going to get in the back of Wallace.
And now Ross Chastain will take the lead away from Darrell Wallace Jr.
And he's going to bring Kevin Harvick with him.
Here comes Harvick. He takes 2nd away. Darrell Wallace Jr. back to 3rd. 4th, how about Matt Crafton?
Solid 4th, too. Phil, if you said somebody's going to have a big point lead late in the season and they had top 10 finishes in every race but 1, and that was an 11th and only 1 race, who would you guess that would be? Matt Crafton. That's Matt's MO.
You are right on it. Ray Dunlap.
Listening to Matt Crafton's radio, he's been talking about how good this truck is. He just said to his crew chief, Junior Joyner, moments ago, we've got a winning truck, but it may take some pit strategy. And Junior said, I know exactly what you're talking about. All weekend, everyone said 4 tires only. The big question is, guys, do you take a chance of going with 2 to get track position?
Yes, Matt, you do. Sure, go for it.
I think if
I believe that was the owner speaking.
I think if you're up in that top 5, you better go with 4 tires. That's close enough to the front to win from, and you wouldn't want to take a chance on 2. If you're back 10th or 12th, get 2.
We've seen those left rear tires and the fact that they're wearing out. I don't think you can do that and not change left side tires.
And plus, we're getting a lot of green flag running today, Phil. Already set a record for most consecutive green flag laps, and we're in another green flag looking run here. Denny Hamlin charging his way back to the front.
Yeah, he had dropped all the way back to the 8th spot. Now he's made his way up to 6th, or 5th, looking to battle for that 4th position from Crafton.
This has already been over a 50-lap run on this set of tires for most of these teams.
Hamlin all over the back bumper, a little bit of damage to the back of that 88. Here comes Hamlin looking to the inside of Matt Crafton. No contact yet, maybe a little bump there as they come out of 4.
That's Denny letting him know that he's here, letting him know he has a faster truck, and Matt Crafton recognizes that. Our point leader.
Hamlin decides to go to the outside, trying to get by that 88 of Crafton. What an impressive run that was through 1 and 2.
See, Matt doesn't mind letting Denny go right now, but he does not want to let the 3 truck of Ty Dillon go.
Well, there's a big gap behind those 2 trucks, so I believe I just work it out.
Yeah, I think Matt played a little bit of a game right there. Oh, there he goes.
Wow, look at Ty Dillon. Oh.
Coming around, does he get into the back of that 51? No, but he's on the inside now, battling for that 4th spot. Hamlin has it. Ty Dillon trying to take it away, and around goes James Busher in the 31.
We're hearing that maybe there might have been some contact from the 98 of Johnny Sauter on that 31 truck of James Busher.
He was running in the 11th spot. Busher goes around, bringing out the caution for the 5th time.
See, Joey Coulter worked his way by. Johnny Sauter just drove in there on the inside. James came back down to the bottom of the racetrack, and Johnny had a little bit too much momentum.
Look who's right behind Johnny. Ryan Hornaday. That might be why he had all that momentum, Phil.
Didn't want to get on the brakes too early. So Busher goes around, bringing out the caution for the 5th time. That puts Ross Chastain and Kevin Harvick together on the front row. Now, 72 laps
wait a minute.
to go.
We got a pit.
Would you come to pit road now? Is this the time?
Is this the last set of tires?
Yes.
70 to go. It's right on the edge. You said you couldn't wait till 40. We're at 70.
Yeah, you're in the seat. What do you say? You want him or not?
Cautions breed cautions.
I don't know, man. This is a tough decision. That's why the crew chiefs get paid all the big bucks.
You got about 5 seconds. What's it going to be, buddy?
And the decision is?
Oh, they're all coming.
Oh, he's going to wait till see what they do.
Ross Chastain isn't coming.
Ross is staying out.
Oh.
Harvick and everyone else comes down pit road. Bob Dillner.
Kevin Harvick pulling his truck down pit road right now. Honestly, really has not said much on the radio at all. They're going to make a minor adjustment on this truck. Paul Andrews calling the shots for that team here today. I'll tell you what, Kevin Harvick really coming through the field. He was just being patient there at that point in the race. Hermie?
Bob, the 3 truck is good on the long run, but now they want to be better on a short run, anticipating some cautions towards the end. 4 tires, fuel, and an air pressure adjustment for the 3. Ray.
Bubba Wallace just said my truck is good enough to win. They'll go with 4 tires. They'll put Sunoco fuel in it. Absolutely no adjustments. He said, we can do this, guys. Stay calm. Give me a good pit stop. They hang those 4 tires. Kevin Harvick will roll by him. The 3 gets out. It'll be a tight race. He's going to beat Matt Crafton. We see Denny Hamlin leaving from pit stall number 1.
And Denny Hamlin gets out just in front of his teammate in the 3rd spot. But it was Kevin Harvick that came off pit road first.
That 3 team's getting it done on pit road today, aren't they?
Impressive. Stay with us here at Martinsville. Green flag back in the air. Brad Keselowski racing 1 and 2. Blaney on the inside allows that 19 to get by, and they stay on the inside of the track 1 and 2. Here comes the 3 of Ty Dillon. Fresh tires on the 3, going for the lead.
Look at Kevin Harvick down at the bottom of Ryan Blaney. He's going for that 4th spot.
There's Bubba Wallace at 54 right behind Ty Dillon in the 3 truck. Remember, fresh tires going by the old tires.
Ty Dillon takes the lead, and it's the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. up to 2nd.
All right.
Here comes the 14 of Kevin Harvick. By the way, if you don't know who that was, that's Kyle Busch up here with us.
Look at Denny Hamlin squeezes to the inside of Ross Chastain to grab that spot. Ross and Ryan Blaney are roadblocks right now.
Right now, all took a look out of the front bumper of the 4 truck of Jeb Burton, all Ross Chastain wants to do right now is survive, stay on the lead lap, try to catch a caution.
Yeah, get in line right now. He's been stuck on the outside trying to get back in now.
He's going to need this thing to go green for a little while, though, Phil.
Around goes Hornaday in the 9. He was on the outside of a 3-wide situation. Caution comes out. Just how does this work out for Ross Chastain?
That's not what they want.
He can't
not
stop.
what they wanted.
He can't stop now.
No.
There's not enough laps on these tires for these other guys. Looked like Ron Hornaday did not realize they were 3 wide. He took a line down to the inside like there weren't 2 trucks underneath him.
That's Brian Silas in the 99.
Incredible
amount of damage.
That's a chain reaction.
Someone stopping in front of him.
I'd say an accordion type effect on that one.
But Phil, like, how are you going to keep falling back? How does Blaney and Chastain even stay out?
It's the laps on tires. You just got to suffer through it and make sure that those guys put enough laps on their tires that when you do get your tires that you have enough of an advantage on lap time over them guys.
Watch this. Hornaday's on the outside of 3 wide and he has to turn. Wasn't anything Ben Kennedy could do. He had to make the turn too.
Yeah, James Buescher was against the curb on the inside. Ben Kennedy was where he was supposed to be, and I think Ron just didn't realize they were 3 wide, it looked like.
Yep, 3 wide going into turn 3, and it didn't work out for Hornaday. Once again, Hornaday around and damage to that 9 truck.
I think Ross Chastain will continue to have to suffer through these older tires for another 15-20 laps.
At least.
Until the next caution.
Well, hopefully the next caution. He's not going to
Depends on what it is. If it's another 2 laps again, no, you got to stay out again.
So Hornaday has to make his way onto pit road. A lot of 3 on the track. We'll have to clean up.
That's going to be a tough sail for the crew chief.
Stay out.
Yeah. Ross is screaming right now for
Stay
tires.
out.
What's that old saying, though? Cautions breed caution.
Oh, that's right. I thought you were going to say 8 tires stick better than 4, and that's sort of what happened to Ron.
Well, in that situation, 8 stuck better than 12.
That was 12. That was 12.
There was a lot of tires involved in that spin. What about our man Harvick? He's fought his way from the 21st starting position straight through this field. Early wreck by Ryan Sieg down on the inside.
Ball there.
But watch how aggressive he was. He gets into the back of Jeb Burton, makes that move. Into the back of Romain Kroger, makes that move. He has just driven this race just like he had nothing to lose. Watch, little bump there with John Russ Townley. He said before the race today that he didn't think he had the truck to win this race with, but he was going to darn sure have a lot of fun, and that looks like fun.
But look at the front bumper of that truck. We've seen him push a few people out of the way, and virtually no damage to the front of that truck. He's just moved them out of the way. He hasn't crashed them. He's just moved them out of the way.
Exactly. He's moved them out of the way so he could take those spots. Bob Dillner.
Bruce Cook, crew chief for Ron Hornaday, they brought that machine down on pit road and they took all sorts of hammers to try to get the wheel wells clear so that way nothing was rubbing on the wheels there, and you can see the damage on the left rear quarter panel. They were trying to adjust that with the spoiler as well to make sure they got that spoiler in the air like they wanted to, but a tough day. Luckily, it's Martinsville. You can still run well with a truck that looks like this, Ernie.
You're right, Bob, and a great restart for Ty Dillon. He gets out front. They just told him on the radio they anticipate the 54 of Bubba Wallace to be very aggressive in these next 5, 10, 15 laps, try to get the lead. They say, save your stuff and let's be there at the end to battle with the top guys, Ray.
For Denny Hamlin, he's still a little bit free right in the center, and they've been preaching patience to him, telling him we've got plenty of time to get up there. Still 60 laps to go. Denny said his truck is coming to him, so keep your eye on that Jordan race truck. I have a feeling Denny will still be a player.
Row 1, Ty Dillon, Darrell Wallace Jr. Row 2, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin. Just behind him, row 3, Jeb Burton, Matt Crafton. Coming out of turn number 4, green flag in the air.
Good news for Ty Dillon. He has a friendly face right behind him. Kevin Harvick drives for RCR on the Cup side.
Way up the racetrack, goes to 3 and almost, and a little contact by Darrell Wallace Jr., but almost hard into the outside wall.
Wow. Ty Dillon is very aggressive with his line. Crowded Wallace Jr. up into the wall, but Darrell doesn't.
And around goes the 51 of Denny Hamlin. Backs it into the inside wall.
It looked like the 88 of Matt Crafton may have gotten the back of Denny Hamlin and turned him around. Not a great deal of damage to Denny's truck. He was running 4th.
Mid-back leader.
And now Denny Hamlin will have to fight his way back up. Caution is out.
I'm not sure what happened there, but I do know that I think Ross Chastain
To the back panel.
and Ryan Blaney have to pit now, guys. Don't they?
Yeah, just outside of 50 laps to go, 56 laps to go.
That didn't work out good for them.
No, and it's going to cost them a shot at winning the race. See, Matt got against the left rear of Denny and
never
pedaled it just a little bit.
And around goes the 51. And so now Denny Hamlin will have his work cut out for him. There are 21 trucks on the lead lap. We'll get a free pass here. That will put 22 trucks on the lead lap.
You know, Denny Hamlin and Matt Crafton have history here. Remember last fall?
This is the pass for the win.
Denny moved him out of the way. Matt wasn't happy about it. Let him know after the race.
Came to victory lane to have a talk with Denny Hamlin.
What do you think?
Did he let him know on the track just now? I tell you, you drivers have such incredible memories.
I think Matt has so much to lose, though. I mean, he doesn't want to make any enemies out here, I don't think, with this point lead.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Denny Hamlin will come down to his pits. I told you at the top of the show they had a set of stickers and a set of scuffs. They put those on already, and Denny said these tires are shaking a little bit, but they decided not to change tires because the only thing left in the pits are the ones they've already practiced on. So they're going to do a little repair, especially to that right rear corner. Denny said we got a long way to go here, but no sense changing tires. We'll do the best that we can. Bob Dillner?
Ray, this entire 19 team is frustrated right now. Crew Chief Chad Kendrick, Ross Chastain, everybody. They were the leader when they didn't come down pit road, and everybody did. It was a bad call, Chad told me, but they are trying to rebound. They got fresh tires and tried to tighten up that truck.
It's just not going to work out for him. If we would have gone 20, 25 laps after they all pitted, then maybe he would have had a shot at overcoming it. Now, there's not enough differential in the amount of laps these tires have on them, so I just don't think it's going to work out for him.
Chastain, a fast truck strategy bites him. Denny Hamlin racing inside of traffic. He gets crashed. It's how hard it is to win one of these babies. There's so many variables that you just can't predict.
Short track racing, bumping and banging. We see the 9. He was in the garage area. They're tearing the hood off of that truck. Ross Chastain stayed out and got hung out. No one else came onto pit road, or everyone else came onto pit road when he didn't. Now Denny Hamlin in the 51 making his way back onto pit road.
Just trying to get the rear of that truck squared away. I don't know, Phil, did they maybe put a set of scuffs on here after that spin? Or
I think we talked about they have so many laps on the scuffs that if these tires aren't flat spotted, these are going to be the freshest tires they have.
Back into their stall. They'll work on the body on the right side of that truck. Just backed it into the inside wall after getting turned around by the 88 team. Ray Dunlap.
Well, keep in mind, guys, you got to watch out for owner's points. Normally, with Denny Hamlin having damage here and this far to go through the field, they may consider parking it, but they said we've got to get this truck back up there, get it rolling. They have worked on that right rear fender. They've got a baseball bat there to get him some clearance, and as the field comes around, he'll go back to the back of the pack.
And that means 21st.
And the guy that we looked at as a favor is in trouble. And Harvick, as they're waving off the restart, Harvick, who started way in the back, look at that. He's right there battling for the lead. Look at Ty Dillon. He just takes advantage of leading the race and goes up the hill a little bit. And Darrell Wallace Jr. almost hits the wall and does an amazing job of maintaining his momentum and restarting in that second spot still.
Yeah, if he would have stayed in the throttle, he would have gotten to the outside wall or had to turn the 3 truck on the inside.
Kim Lopez, our flag lady, letting them know one more time around before we get the green flag. A little bit of damage to the right rear of that 54.
As Michael said, that was an amazing job not to make any more contact with the outside wall than he did.
I'm sure he's going to be aggressive again and try to get in front of that 3 before they get out of turn number 2. We'll see if Ty Dillon races him as hard coming off of 2.
And again, remember, we have Kevin Harvick right behind Ty Dillon. These guys have been teammates in the past. Both race out of RCR. Kevin on the Cup side and the Nationwide side. This is NTS he's racing for here in this 14 truck.
2 by 2 once again. Ty Dillon and Darrell Wallace Jr. in front. Jeb Burton, Kevin Harvick in row number 2. Back in row 3, Matt Crafton, Herman Quiroga. Coming out of turn 4, green flag back in the air. This time Jeff Burton ducks right in behind that 14 of Harvick. Side by side down the backstretch. Darrell Wallace Jr. door to door with Ty Dillon as they go into 3. Trying to hang on to him. Way up the racetrack they go. Here comes Harvick looking to the inside.
Ty Dillon carried Darrell Wallace Jr. all the way up the track, but yet Darrell's able to fight strong on that outside.
Still holding that outside line, trying to make the pass. Can't make it work as they go down the backstretch. Darrell Wallace Jr. trying to get just in front of the 3. He clears him. Now down to the apron, and he's able to hold on to the top spot. Darrell Wallace Jr. back in front in Martinsville.
That's as good as it gets at Martinsville right there. He had a guy on the inside of him trying to use him up, but yet Darrell Wallace Jr. fought hard and got the lead.
That was a veteran move right there by Darrell Wallace. I think maybe running that race this spring might have helped him here at this racetrack.
Yeah, he's run a lot of races here. He's run his late model stock car here a few times as well. Looks like the 3 truck's a little tight. Maybe that's why he was running up the racetrack. But Darrell had his head on his shoulders right there and powered through it and got the lead. So hopefully he can hold on here for the next 47 laps.
Darrell Wallace Jr. out in front. Ty Dillon runs second. Kevin Harvick third. Jeff Burton is fourth. Matt Crafton, points leader, running fifth.
77 Kroger was black flags with moving out of line before we got to the start-finish line on that restart.
Have to serve that penalty.
You can watch here as he gets ready to cross the start-finish line, changes lanes. Look, down to the inside, that's illegal. You got to stay in line. He didn't maintain that line.
Just a case of everyone trying to fight for the inside of the racetrack. He was running in the 6th spot. Going to cost him a bunch.
Now single file line once again. Under 50 laps. We're at 45 to go. Darrell Wallace Jr. has almost a 7/10 second lead over Ty Dillon and pulling away. How about the 19 of Denny Hamlin? Denny Hamlin, after getting turned around, trying to move his way back up. He's running in 19. Kyle Busch, thanks for joining us. I know you've got a busy time. But you might want to be down in victory lane because Darrell Wallace Jr. is headed that direction.
Thank you guys.
Here today. The gap that was 7/10 of a second has closed. It's under 5/10 of a second now. Ty Dillon closing in on that back bumper of Darrell Wallace Jr. And here comes Kevin Harvick running in the 3rd spot.
The more laps that run off on green, these tires are getting slipperier and slipperier. That experience that Kevin Harvick has running from the 3rd spot could pay off. Ty Dillon looks like he's beginning to run lap times faster, lap after lap, than our leader, Darrell Wallace Jr.
How about Kevin Harvick ran his fastest lap of the race about 3 laps ago?
Bob Dillner.
Kevin Harvick about 11 laps from going all out. They're trying to conserve tires right now. He's a 3-time winner here in the Camping World Truck Series, but he's never won the fall Martinsville race. So Kevin Harvick just trying to bide his time right now, stay right behind those guys, and then go on the attack with about 20 or 25 laps to go.
And see, Phil, I love that because that's exactly what Harvick's doing. Those other boys up there, the inexperience of Darrell Wallace Jr., Ty Dillon's run second before here. He knows what he's doing, but Harvick just has that extra gear. He can run right there and keep pace with them without abusing his truck. When he turns it up, these boys could be in trouble.
Kevin Harvick has won here 3 times. The furthest back that he's ever started in winning those races was 10th.
Go to Johnny Sauter. He makes his way to the inside of Chase Elliott.
That's a top 5 spot for Sauter.
Yeah, just outside the top 5 right now, running in the 6th spot.
Sauter having some issues early with the 9 truck of Ron Hornaday.
Pretty nice recovery for Johnny Sauter.
It's just an amazing recovery that he's been able to race his way through the field. Been on pit road, had to make some repairs.
Matt Crafton running just in front of him in the 5th spot. We mentioned at the top of the show this would be the final hurdle.
Battle for second.
Or Harvick gave him a break.
Harvick looks to the inside, a little bit of contact there, still to the inside of Ty Dillon.
I think maybe Kevin Harvick is saying it's time for me to go right now here. We've got 31 laps to go. It may be time.
Yeah, and you can also see that they've lost a lot of ground to Darrell Wallace Jr., so that could also play into his game plan.
That's going to accelerate his
And
plan.
around goes the 27. Jeff Agnew spins, and that brings the caution once again. Brandon Jones got into the back of Agnew.
They were racing for the 12th spot, Rick. Good runs for both Brandon Jones and Jeff Agnew. And look at Jones, just dives hard in the corner. Jeff didn't think he was going to take that gap.
You saw the line that Jeff Agnew was going to run, real wide and then really arc it in. And the problem is when you're running in traffic, you can't get away with that. Everybody here is going to dive bomb and get into the inside.
Is this an advance? Does this help Darrell Wallace Jr.? We saw him beginning to fade just ever so slightly on that long green flag run. Get those tires cooled off. Is this going to be enough of a help to help him hold off Harvick and Dillon?
We saw how good he was on that restart. Remember, he got that lead, wrestled that lead away from Ty Dillon from the outside. Now he has the option of starting on the inside.
And also, Kevin Harvick will be down on the inside. So Ty Dillon's aggressive racing to keep Harvick behind him. He might have said, ah, darn, because now he's got to start on that outside lane. Harvick down on the inside. Ty could lose second spot really easily here.
As you can see right there, the most first-time winners ever at a racetrack. 7 here at Martinsville. We're looking for 8 now for Darrell Wallace Jr. I think Kevin Harvick would give Ty every break he could give him, but now inside of 30 laps to go, he said, if I'm going to win this race, I'm going to have to go now.
We talked about the youth joining this series. Ben Kennedy in the 30, currently in the 10th spot, Bob.
21 years old, the great grandson of the founder of NASCAR, Ben Kennedy, looking pretty good right now. I just had a conversation with his crew chief, Chris Carrier, and he said this is a fine gentleman. He's done everything the team has asked him for today, and that's work his way into the top 10 and be patient. And that's what he's exuding right now, is that patience on the racetrack. And guess what, guys? He's actually going to fly from here to go down to New Smyrna Speedway to do the double today to run the super late model at the Governor's Cup.
Well, Bob, it's been a pretty impressive day for John Hunter Nemechek. First ever Truck Series start, 16 years of age. Now, he qualified towards the back of the pack. He didn't have good track position when the race started, lost a lap pretty early on. But since he's gone one lap down, been very, very consistent. Good feedback on the radio, kept his nose clean, passed a lot of trucks. Looking pretty good here for a solid finish in his outing. Now, the 6 of Hemrick, his race was basically over before it got started. He's back on pit road, but Daniel Hemrick lost a transmission in the opening laps of this race. Went behind the wall, replaced the transmission, and he's just now just trying to finish and get as much experience as possible towards the end of this race. But tough break for the 6. Ray?
Hermie, for Brandon Jones in the number 33 truck, he's had an excellent day. Started back in 23rd, has worked his way all the way up to 12th. Now today is just his 3rd start in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. He said, I'll tell you what, guys, I've learned a lot out here today, especially just how rough it can be here at Martinsville.
Short track racing at Martinsville with the Camping World Truck Series. This is the 30th race for the Camping World Truck Series here at Martinsville. And it has always lived up to the billing.
Oh, it's been a great race. We've seen a lot of green flag action. We've seen Kevin Harvick march through the field. Young Darrell Wallace Jr. just clinging to that lead, hoping to be the next first-time winner here at Martinsville. Jeff Burton, solid as always. Matt Crafton, our point leader, getting in a dust-up with Denny Hamlin.
I think right now Matt would hope that Denny wouldn't be able to catch him. Right now, Denny's being shown back.
He's 15th, or actually moved up to.
I think he's about going to be the last truck on the lead. Rick, he just pitted.
Yeah.
I guess he put on some scuffed tires. I thought I saw the team go over the wall with some tires.
So he's going to jump in behind, it looks like, Joey Coulter.
He only had about 5 spots to lose. He
Here
was
we go.
running about the 15th spot. You see, they're going to put tires on the right side of that truck.
And coming out of turn number 4, green flag back in the air. Darrell Wallace Jr. on the inside, Ty Dillon on the outside, side by side through 1 and 2.
Look at Wallace go. Was able to clear Dillon in a hurry and get the lead.
Boy, his truck is so good on the restarts.
Ty Dillon holds on to second. Back in third is that 14 of Kevin Harvick.
How about Johnny Sauter on the outside trying to make the move on Jeb Burton?
You can see Chase Elliott. He's trying to get on the inside of Johnny Sauter too. Johnny hung up on the outside of Jeb Burton. Can he get back over and down in front of Elliott? No. Chase fills that hole.
Chase Elliott takes that spot, and the 62 of Brendan Gaughan's going to fall right in behind that 94.
And Johnny just can't quite do it on the outside. That opens up the bottom for Brendan. Brendan's there. Johnny has to give him room on the inside.
We heard Hermie Sadler talk about Ben Kennedy. He's up to the 9th spot now. He's going to try to take advantage of Sauter being stuck up on the outside. And right behind him, Scott Riggs. We know how good Riggs is here at Martinsville, and he's trying to race Kennedy for that 9th spot.
Scott Riggs got his first Truck Series win right here back in 2001, driving for Ultra Motorsports. giving Ricky Benton's truck a great ride.
Inside, 22 laps to go from Martinsville. In front of the field, Darrell Wallace Jr. He's got about a 0.4 of a second lead over Ty Dillon. That's about a truck length here at Martinsville.
It looks like on the short run, no one's going to be able to, or Harvick's not going to be able to outrun those two that are ahead of him. Maybe if we run all 20 laps out here to the finish, Harvick gets those tires greased up and goes after our leaders.
Boy, Ty's truck's looking pretty strong right now.
Ty Dillon all over the back bumper, and Brennan Newberry goes around, bringing out the caution for the 9th time.
We're going to do it again. Going to have another restart.
Brennan Newberry gets it going the right direction as the field comes up behind him.
You know, Phil,
24th.
With Darrell Wallace so strong on the restarts and Ty stuck up on the outside, if Harvick's going to win this race, he's going to have to probably make something special happen on the restart itself. Doesn't look like he has the speed for the first 4 or 5 laps to deal with these guys, so he might have to get aggressive.
Here's how the 24 went around. Had a little help there from Jeff Agnew.
That's Martinsville, as Phil said earlier.
Caleb Holman does a great job getting by in that 75 truck, the food country truck.
Inside of 20 laps, Denny Hamlin came onto pit road most recently. Lap 172, the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. The only truck that has not been out of the top 10 all race. Ray.
You know, Rick, a lot of people in the garage area are big college football fans, including Jerry Baxter. He's the crew chief for Bubba Wallace, and Bubba says, you know what, I love Tennessee, and Jerry says, I love South Carolina. So last Saturday afternoon they had a little bet on that college football game. Guess what? The score was 23-21, and the payoff today is for Jerry Baxter to have to wear the Tennessee hat. Actually, he's had it on all weekend. He's not liking that very much, but he sure does like where his driver's sitting. Bob?
Well, Chase Elliott is a Georgia boy through and through. His dad, a former Cup Series champion, just 17 years old, running 6th right now. He started 12th. He's been fighting a loose condition in that truck all weekend long and throughout this race. But right now, Chase Elliott, he's on the charge. He wants to score another top 5 finish. He won in the Camping World Truck Series just a couple months ago, but this is a rising star of our sport.
Just wait till this last restart. We're going to have a restart inside of 20 laps to go, and watch these drivers fight for the inside. Johnny Sauter really paid the price there. Had to restart on the outside, lost a couple spots. Bad news, he's still on the outside. He's going to restart in the 8th spot.
So you're saying they're not going to be as cordial on these restarts
Not
now?
at all. Not at all.
Not going to let someone in?
You ask one of them to define cordial, and they will not be able to do it. That all goes out the window late in the going. If you're on the inside, all you're thinking about is filling that gap ahead of you. If you're on the outside, you're going to try to pinch down that inside guy the most you can.
Ray, what's the strategy for the 51?
Well, guys, you were right. They did have to put the other tires on. You see right here, flat spots on this one. This is the right front. See a bunch of cords here. So these were the tires, and Denny said really bad vibration on that truck. So they came in. The tires he has on now are the ones they practice with. Obviously not much better. Hermie?
Well, Ray, the boss man, has spoke on the number 3 radio. Richard Childress just chimed in and said, from here on in, it's all take and no give. Let's see what happens on this restart.
Hermie, the boss didn't say anything about being cordial, did he?
Not at all.
I don't believe the word cordial came out of Richard Childress' mouth here, as we have 16 laps to go when they come by the stripe.
Guys, keep an eye on that 14 truck of Kevin Harvick inside 2nd row.
Green flag back in the air.
We saw how Ty Dillon used up Bubba Wallace when Ty was down on the bottom, so Bubba's not going to be shy about making sure he gets the lead, and he gets it easily.
Way up the racetrack with the 3 of Ty Dillon. That allows the 14 of Kevin Harvick to take 2nd. Up to the 4th spot, the 88 of Matt Crafton right on the back bumper of the 3 as they come down to the final 17 or 15 laps now as they cross the stripe.
This thing stays green, and Darrell Wallace is able to hold off the great short track racer that Kevin Harvick is. Man, that grandfather clock is going to look extra sweet.
A big lead for Darrell Wallace Jr. as he goes into turn number 3. Now the 3 of Ty Dillon all over the back bumper of Kevin Harvick for 2nd.
Yeah, Ty Dillon's truck has been very, very strong there. Slid out on that restart. Now he's all over the back bumper of Kevin Harvick.
Trying to take that spot away and get back up there and challenge for this win at Martinsville.
Man, that was an aggressive run down in the corner. Look, he's doing it again. Harvick's trying to swing out. You talked about how in the race that won't work, Phil, because the truck behind you will fill that gap. Look at Dillon looking to fill that gap. Harvick's leading.
Harvick still stays in front. Harvick up about a half a line. Around goes Harvick. Around goes Ty Dillon. And Matt Crafton's able to get through.
Chase Elliott gets right in the side of Kevin Harvick.
A lot of damage to the 88. The front of that 88 has a lot of damage to the left front. It's rubbing on that left front tire. So Matt Crafton's going to have to come to pit road now. Caution has come out again.
Push comes to shove. Look who winds up second. Jeb Burton and also Johnny Sauter
as well.
Up in the mix.
And Johnny will restart in the 3rd position on the inside. See Kevin Harvick and Ty Dillon going at it on the backstretch.
Not happy about this restart. And the way they were racing. And around, the 3 is trying to get that 14 turned around.
Don't get the bad end of it here.
I think he's trying to spin him out. He hadn't any luck yet, but it looks like he's not giving up. That'll probably earn both those drivers
a visit,
a trip to the NASCAR trailer after this race.
I think they're going to have to make a visit,
probably
potentially,
probably as well as the RCR trailer, I would think.
Well, Pop said
it's all take.
All take, no give. There's Richard Childress.
And you could just tell, Phil, the way Ty Dillon was charging the corner, that it was going to be all take. And he was going to try to use up Kevin to get that spot. And eventually down in turn 1, Dillon to the bottom, gets a hold of Harvick, turns him around.
Got him off the bottom of the racetrack, then tried to go by on the inside, but Kevin couldn't maintain control of it.
And look at Chase Elliott, just blocked. Nothing that kid could do. Looks like NASCAR's saying.
Crews coming out to try to talk with, voice their displeasure with the 14 of Kevin Harvick. That's the 3 team that was out there. Harvick's got the window net down on that 14.
I'm not sure if Kevin has the window net down or they took the window net down for him. He took it. He took it down.
I believe it was down. He's parked right in front of the 3, so the 3 can't get in and stall.
The official's doing his best to maintain order, doing a great job actually to get those guys away from the truck.
And once again, the hard part to comprehend is that's a 3,400-pound truck that these guys are messing with right now. And into the garage goes the 14 of Harvick. He'll call it a day. The 88 of Matt Crafton, a lot of damage to the left front of that truck. Got caught up in this incident. They pulled the fender away from the left front. They'll send him back out on the track. They want to keep him on the lead lap. Harvick's out of the truck.
There's a lot of crew guys scrambling to get to where Kevin's at. Most of them are in the NTS uniforms to make sure they're
going to stand guard.
Stand around their driver. And that won't work.
No, that's...
Yep. So they will congregate in the infield area of Martinsville. Crew members coming together, not only from the 3 team of Ty Dillon, but also the 14 of Kevin Harvick. The 3 of Ty Dillon still trying to complete this race. His team's going to work on that. And right now, Bob Dillner's caught up with Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick, interesting incident. What happened?
3 just dumped me. Exactly the reason why I'm leaving RCR, because you got those kids coming up and they got no respect for what they do in this sport, and they've had everything fed to them with a spoon. So I cut him slack all day, and you know, he just dive bombs me in there, dumps me. So just got to thank all these Anderson Syrup guys for everything that they do. It's a shame you got to get taken out by some rich kid like that.
Of course, the move from Richard Childress Racing for Kevin Harvick starting in 2014. Harvick running for a championship with RCR right now in the Cup Series.
Yeah, those guys will be. That's Richard Childress, Ty Dillon's.
This is what Kevin's talking about, though. An aggressive 3 of Ty Dillon getting in there, trying to take that spot away.
And Matt Crafton with nowhere to go was right behind him, and that he actually turned the 3 around. You see Matt, they get seized up there. Matt was being pushed from behind by the 4 of Jeb Burton. That's what we've talked. Here's from Kevin Harvick's onboard.
I think that first bump's one thing, and then just turning them after that is probably why Kevin was so upset. But we saw that angle, Phil. We talked about it.
But see, he had some help, too.
Yeah, the hard part there is that they won't understand, or at least Kevin Harvick's not going to understand, is the 3 was being pushed by the 88 because everybody was piling up behind him.
But how much of the damage will already be done? We obviously just heard Kevin Harvick's interview. He's racing for a championship in the Cup Series. He's 4th in points for RCR. You can't undo what was just said.
Darrell Wallace Jr. up in front. Jeb Burton will start on his outside as they come out of turn number 4.
These need to be the best 7 laps of Darrell Wallace Jr.'s life.
That was a good first part of it right there.
Look at Brendan Gaughan diving to the bottom, moving Jeb Burton out of the way.
Burton goes up. Here comes Brendan Gaughan. Johnny Sauter all the way up the racetrack.
What about Ben Kennedy up to the 4th spot in that number 30 truck? Scott Riggs in 5th.
This time by 5 laps of racing to go. They're 2 by 2 back behind Darrell Wallace Jr.
How about Ryan Blaney just outside the top 5?
Along with Ross Chastain, who made that late pit stop. And here comes Denny Hamlin.
How did Denny get back in the top 10?
Back in the mix after all these cautions. Darrell Wallace Jr. an 8/10 of a second lead over Brendan Gaughan. Jeb Burton runs 3rd. Ben Kennedy is 4th. Scott Riggs running 5th.
I don't know. Can we make it 4 laps without having another caution?
Darrell Wallace Jr. sure hopes so. He's got the lead. He's got the fastest truck.
Ross Chastain getting shuffled out. A few trucks behind him. This time around with Darrell Wallace Jr. 3 laps of racing to go at Martinsville.
What a great run, too, by Brendan Gaughan. We talked earlier that he had a good truck in race runs. He's proven it, stayed out of trouble, and he's all the way up to the 2nd spot. Ben Kennedy fighting hard.
Moved out of the way is the 92 of Riggs.
Ryan Blaney, the 29, got in the back of the 92 of Scott Riggs, moves him up. Now there's Johnny Sauter going by on the inside.
This time by 2 laps of racing to go for Darrell Wallace Jr. Brendan Gaughan holding out a 2nd. Jeb Burton 3rd. Ben Kennedy 4th. Ryan Blaney up to the 5th spot.
Darrell knows if he can get to the white flag before the caution comes out, he's home free.
Hoping a caution doesn't come out. He's got a huge lead over Brendan Gaughan. Coming out of turn number 4. Darrell Wallace Jr. sees the white flag one more time in Martinsville.
Got a great battle for 3rd and 4th back there. You see Brendan 2nd. There's Jeb Burton, Ben Kennedy, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin all nose to tail.
Down the backstretch, Darrell Wallace Jr. almost a backstretch lead over 2nd place Brendan Gaughan. Out of turn number 4, Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to get his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. And they spread out behind him.
That's how you do it right there, Phil. You'd take a late restart and drive away from him. Nobody had a chance to bump on Darrell Wallace Jr.
Darrell Wallace Jr. in just his 19th start will get his first career win. Teammates not happy on pit road. The 19 was into the back of the 29. Ram guts and glory. What a day it was.
That was the move of the race for him right there. He could have crashed, but yet not only did he not crash, he was able to maintain 2nd spot. An amazing job by Darrell Wallace Jr.
Got the lead on a restart from the outside.
Was able to take that and parlay it into his first win. The final restart, a great one. Separated himself from the field and from 2nd place Brendan Gaughan, and now starts the celebration that he's been waiting so long for. Darrell Wallace Jr. will be in victory lane when we come back. What an incredible finish for Darrell Wallace Jr. Little Scott from Danville, Virginia, the last African-American driver to win in the upper series of NASCAR. That was back in 1964. Darrell Wallace Jr., only the 2nd African-American driver to win in the upper tier of NASCAR. And now he's going to celebrate his first win. Let's go down.
His dad's in there giving him a big hug. Bubba crying on the radio. He's so happy it's unbelievable. We let him know that we are ready. Here he comes out of this Toyota Care Tundra, winning for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Obviously, he's got a nice Coca-Cola in his hand. The crew member douses him. In 2010 at Greenville Pickens, Bubba Wallace became the first African-American to win in the K&M Pro Series West. Today, he's a winner in the Camping World Trucks. Bubba, hey, the patience paid off, my friend. How's it feel to be in victory lane in the Camping World Trucks?
Oh my God, this is, I don't know, man. I'm speechless right now. God, I couldn't even hold it together coming off 4 with the checker, and I still can't. Here's the man right here. It's all because of the hat he's wearing, Tennessee. So, oh, man, I had so much confidence coming into this race, and I told my guys that I did, and I told everybody that's how I was going to win. I said, hell yeah, every time. So it was no, maybe we're going to try, but this one was for sure, and we capitalized. So big thanks to Toyota Care, Coke, Camping World, Good Sam, everybody involved, Oakley. This means a lot. We still got 3 more to go get, and now we have the big momentum on our side.
A lot of people behind this young man today. It pays off. He's in victory lane at Martinsville. Now let's go to Bob Dillner.
A lot of emotion between Ty Dillon and Kevin Harvick as well. First, what happened on track?
Well, it was just hard racing there, and we definitely had a faster car, and he was kind of hogging the bottom, and I just kept diving the inside, and as you can see there, I was low, and he kept chopping down, so. It's getting down to the end of the race, and I gave him a tap, and he got sideways. Then he hit the brakes to try and brake check me in the middle of the corner, and the 88 hit me and just finished him off. I can't believe that kind of happened. That stunk, the wreck part, but to tear a truck up after the race and totally take us out of the race, and then not to stick around after the race to walk off, not even want to say anything to me. I'm sure he's tweeting something now about it. So. Can't even face me after. I'm a little pretty disappointed in the things that just went down. I used to look up to that guy, but I guess he doesn't understand the circumstances of what's going on. I understand it's tough racing down there in 1 and 2. At Martinsville, we wrecked, but to tear a truck up after the race and act like a punk on the track and on pit road and stop my pit road on my pit stall where my guys were coming out, that was pretty ridiculous, and not happy with him. And then for him to not even stick around, that's pretty sad too.
Hermie Sadler.
Ben Kennedy, first time here in any kind of a vehicle. Top 5 finish at one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. How'd you do it?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Just sort of stayed out of trouble. It was mayhem there the last couple of laps, trying to stay out of the eye of the storm. And, we did it. I kind of think Turner Scott Motorsports gave me an awesome truck today. And after that last pit stop, we were really strolling there. And I think we had easily a top 2 finish there. Big congrats to Darrell Walsh Jr. That's a huge accomplishment for him. He's a good guy and a great racer, but really excited about this run. Looking forward to Homestead, and hopefully this helps us a little bit getting something full-time next year.
That's Ben Kennedy. He's going to fly to Florida and do some more racing tonight. Rick?
Hopefully it'll be a little less taxing on him. Matt Crafton, a 51-point lead with just 3 races remaining over James Buescher, Ty Dillon, Jeb Burton, Johnny Sauter, your top 5 in the point standings.
Yeah, Matt lost a little ground here, but I don't think it's enough to matter. I think he has this thing locked up here with a 51-point lead.
How would you like to have the year that Matt's had? He had a crash last week. He had a crash this week. Looks like he's going to win the championship. That's how good of a season he's had all year long.
How about teammates in this race? Sometimes working together and sometimes not even close to working together.
Well, and that's the thing. We don't know how this is going to play out here. Obviously, with Ty Dillon and Kevin Harvick. We know Kevin's leaving RCR, but good gosh, he still has a championship to go after.
Such an emotional win.
What an amazing win for Darrell Wallace Jr. Jerry Baxter's a great man. He and Darrell Wallace Jr. worked so well together, and he won that race, Phil. He drove his butt off to get the checkered flag, and that's what racing at Martinsville is all about.
History made once again in NASCAR. Darrell Wallace Jr. becoming just the 2nd African-American to win at this high of a level of stock car racing. And the celebration is going to continue for quite some time now. Now it's time to head to Manhattan, Kansas. We got a big football battle going between West Virginia and K-State. For that call, we'll throw it to Adam Alexander. Thanks for joining us here.